Okay, great. Anyone can make anything beautiful, but is it functional? That is the question we're going to address today. So, welcome everyone. Welcome to Talk About TV, where we talk about all things experiential outdoor hospitality. I'm your host, Michelle Oliver, and every Wednesday, we come to talk about one thing that you don't know about experiential outdoor hospitality. And I'm so delighted today to be here with Brie Horseman from Mscapes, correct? Not,
Correct.
it's part of M Group. Yeah,
Yes. So we've kind of branched off. We're just a sister company of M Group.
yeah,
So
okay. And Bree is a very, very talented interior designer, and she has an incredible background in textiles and all kinds of things. Do you want to share just really, I know we don't have a lot of time, but a little bit about who you are and why you're here today?
yeah, so I am Brie Horseman, like she said. I'm with Mscapes. I'm our VP of Design and Experience. So my job really in this role is to make sure that our design of anything that we're doing also has that experiential factor, which, as everyone knows in glamping,
Yeah.
is just, the icing on the cake to everything. So that's kind of what I do. It's a little bit different than a lot of design things. You think about design and functional role, but not when it comes to tiny spaces.
Oh my goodness. And it's such an art,
It is. It
right?
is.
Instead of like clutter. So let's talk about this. What I just said, anyone, because this is what you said when we were speaking earlier, anyone can make anything beautiful, but how do you make it beautiful, experiential, and functional all at the same time? What is the magic there, Bree?
So it kind of comes from my background. I did residential design for, a couple of years, probably about six actually. So not a couple, but I did it for a couple of years. And every time we went into a client's home, my job was to really encompass what that client's lifestyle was and how we could make it be the best that we could be. So it was putting ourselves in that client's space and literally living their daily life. And so I do the same thing when I'm designing a tiny home or a glamping resort or anything like that, is putting myself in that space and seeing how that space needs to be utilized. And I think that's part of, this outdoor glamping site, is making sure that you are in this space. You're thinking about, hey, if I am staying here for 3 days, what are the essentials that I'm going to need? What's going to make it comfortable? How is it going to be the best experience for my guests? And that's where that whole interior design meets functionality comes into play.
Yes, well, it's you make it sound very graceful and simple. But
It's
I know because when I speak with a client at the beginning stages of this, and even people who've done it many times and think they know what they're doing, it is much more complex than you know. And one of the things I have learned over the last year is how undervalued and misunderstood the design aspect is, even in a tiny area. And it's actually even more critical that you come in and you know exactly what you're doing, because people think, hey, just a small little space, or even if it is a larger space, and we help people with clubhouses and anything really. But in these tiny park models and tiny homes and modulars, you think it should be simple because it's small. So, can you speak to that a little bit? What people tend to just buy stuff, throw it in, and they wind up having a mess. That's a nice.
exactly. So I think it's always thinking about the space. Like if you have a bed, a lot of times these walls are a little bit shorter. And so you're like, how do I fit a bed and two side tables and make it work? And you can't always do that. So you put a side table on one side, but then the person on the other side, like, what are they supposed to do? So, with my experience, just in that idea alone, is I'm like, you still need a glass, still need a place to set a glass of water. You still need a place for someone to set their cell phone. So maybe you don't have room for an entire table, but let's put like, a table that can pull up to the side that kind of pulls into the bed or does something along those effects. It's thinking about furniture in a way that, okay, this may not be the way that they were thinking of it, but let's create something that's going to work in its place. So I think it's taking a strategic approach to a space and kind of getting, okay, like here's what your normal standard would be. How can we come up with a creative solution so that you have that functionality, but it may be a little different than what you're used to seeing?
I really can appreciate this. And you make me think of a place I stayed recently that was a high-end RV resort, and I stayed in one of the park models. And they did a lot of things right. But I kept wondering, where do I hang my towel? Like, why didn't they just put hooks everywhere? Like they had a
Exactly.
loft, and I was thinking they could have put hooks along the stairs going up for the kid.
Hmm.
Like if I had kids, even one, you know what
Yeah,
one child can do to a space. And there was nowhere to hang the towels. It was a problem with the shower, like the water coming out into the tiny bathroom, and those practical things that people just don't think about. And the outlets. Where's the outlet
e-
for my laptop, and why are there not two? And where are we both supposed to sit if there's two people and we're trying to work, or all of those.
exactly. Exactly. It's just, you know, pulling in like, oh, hey, what if this person's sitting in this chair? Like, what are they going to be doing sitting in the chair? Like, that's great. You have a chair, but what's the purpose of the chair? Like, it's okay. I think a lot of people go, okay, these are the essentials that you need for a room. Let's put them all in a room. But that shouldn't be the idea. The idea should be this room is designated for XYZ. How can we make that achievable? And so it's really knowing like, hey, this is your client. This is what they want out of their resort. And this is what we're trying to achieve. And so I think, a lot of people combat it as, oh, look, here's all this beautiful stuff. Let's put it in the room. It's going to be beautiful. Okay, that's great. Like, I love beautiful things. Don't get me wrong. And when you set them up like that, like, of course people want to stay in them, but are they going to want to stay in them again? Like, is
Exactly.
it going to be an experience that's going to capture them? And, it's going to make them want to sit there with a book cozied up by this window with, hey, here's a hot cup of coffee. Here's some little post-it notes so that you can write down a couple of things. Here's a nice lamp behind them. So when it gets a little dark because it's raining outside, let's make sure they have a blanket. Like, it's putting that idea in their head that this is a place I want to go, that I want to relax, not a place that, oh, here's a pretty chair, but what am I going to do in it?
And this is why I appreciate and value and adore you so much, because you really get this is what turns it from interior design or furniture
Hmm.
to true hospitality. This is the reason we're in the business, right? It's
Exactly.
experiential hospitality, and you've got to reverse engineer it. So very few people really take the time that you do, and the concern and care. So I think that's a beautiful message today. It's very short and very simple, but it makes all the difference in the world. And this is the message that we're out there repeating again and again, right?
Exactly.
How often do you go somewhere where you really feel like they thought? You want to be thinking of their every desire, not just their need, before they
Exactly.
before it comes into their mind, like, I wish there were, you know, I wish there were a place I could put my coffee. I wish there
Yeah,
were
like
a place I could put my pet or my child for a few minutes, you know.
every day of my life. That's what I think.
Take my
But
child,
yes,
bring me my
exactly.
coffee just for an hour. Yeah.
Exactly. It's, hey, here's a little bookcase with an extra couple of games for the child so the mom can relax. Or
And we
it's,
talked a lot about the outdoor, sorry to interrupt you, but we had
no.
great conversations last year about, like, on the deck, what you can do for pets and children so they can go out and be occupied. You had mentioned some really creative ideas around that. Do
Yes,
you,
like just adding on some add-in packages so that if you know, like a mom's coming to stay, like, hey, here's a little wagon full of some building blocks that we recommend. Here's some stories that are, guided to your property and like may take place in some way that'll be fun to read with the kids. Some coloring books and some coloring sheets. Those cost what, like $1?
yeah.
It's just adding those little extra things in that you know, that's what takes your experience to a next level is really thinking about those factors.
Yes. And it changes the look of the place. If you show
It
up with
does.
your kids and on the deck, there's like a little wagon with these special thing instead of just like a shelf, you know? So I love that. And you can do it for the pets. And yeah, you really, really get it and understand. So everyone, you are invited to reach out to Bree, and her contact information is in this post. And Bree, thank you so much. It's lovely, lovely to see you again. And we're looking forward to seeing what you have to share at the glamping show. It's
Yeah,
coming.
we can't wait to see you guys.
Yeah, yeah. You're going to be there. Do you want to share just really quickly what you're going to be
Yeah,
doing there?
so we will be there from Monday through Wednesday. The show's Tuesday and Wednesday, but we will be there Monday as well.
Yes, you will.
We
Setting up.
have yes, exactly. We have our Nomad trade show model that will be there. It's kind of a condensed down version of our Nomad that's designed it by Zach Stoltenberg, which is exciting. And then we also are having two other structures. So we've kind of partnered with AGA on this, and we're super excited about that and just to kind of show what all we're doing. It's been 3 years in the making on this, so it's a big thing for us.
It really is. Well, congratulations on that. I know it can be, it's just so much more work than anyone understands. And thank you so much for sharing your expertise and your heart for this industry. And I really look forward to seeing you in just a couple months, actually. It'll
I
be,
know. I'm so excited to see you again.
I know, it'll be great. Thank you so
It'll
much,
be great.
Bree. Have a
Thanks,
wonderful week.
Michelle. You
Bye.
too.